Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and are having a flare-free day. Tomorrow is a very exciting day as it's my daughter's very first birthday. It's also a year of being a mom, and I thought that today's video could be a sit-down friend-to-friend chat around my thoughts and feelings around motherhood in the first year, especially while living with a chronic illness. I want to talk about the highs and the lows and things I'm going to change or keep the same, and just how I'm managing my chronic illness in the first year of motherhood. So I have my cup of coffee here. Feel free to grab a tea or coffee or hot chocolate, whatever your drink of choice is, for this little catch up on a very important milestone. So the first thing I want to chat about is that I cannot believe where this year has gone. There's a quote that's out there that's like, the days are long, but the years are short. And that is like the truest quote that I've ever seen in my life. And it's so interesting to just go back on videos and photos of my daughter and just like how quickly she has changed and just the person that she's becoming. Even in a year, like her personality is showing more. She is such a loving, happy, smiley baby, and I just feel so incredibly blessed to be her mom. I'm already getting emotional. But looking back on everything, like I am just so incredibly proud of her, and just like the way she sees the world. She has these beautiful big eyes that just take in everything, and the way she looks at people and takes them in and makes them happy, and we go out to restaurants and things, like she just lights up people's day, and I just feel incredibly blessed to have her as my daughter. And it's the truest statement I could ever say, because I always thought that I would be a mom in my life, and I would hope to be a mom. And especially with my endometriosis, like I didn't know if motherhood would be in the cards for me or in my chapter book, because endometriosis individuals can deal with infertility as a symptom. And I just was always told by doctors and my specialists that it may be difficult for me to be a mom and to conceive naturally. And I just feel, looking back on this year, even though there were some lows with it, that I am so incredibly fortunate to have this experience and to live through the highs and lows, because I know that some individuals don't have that experience. And so looking back on this year, I'm just very grateful that I am able to say that I'm a mom and I have these experiences while living with endometriosis. With my endometriosis in the mix, I had pains and symptoms during pregnancy, and I'll post some videos throughout my journey that I've had on my channel here. The beginning of pregnancy for me was excruciatingly painful. The pains that I had during pregnancy were worse than endo pains at times. And I realized back then that version of myself was going through so much. And I just thank that person and that version of myself for the strength that they had every day to like keep going and to keep working and to keep doing all these things in life while dealing with excruciating pain during pregnancy. I was really worried during the pregnancy stage that my endo flares would be worse after pregnancy. And spoiler, my endo pains did return after giving birth. So you kind of always hear that endometriosis is cured by getting pregnant. And it's a very dangerous statement to make in my books, because one, again, some individuals deal with infertility as a symptom of endo. So saying just get pregnant is not a helpful statement, as some people may not be able to. And two, my experience was that my endo flares returned after giving birth. So my endo wasn't cured by any means. So my endometriosis, in a way, I was fortunate, because after giving birth, the first 3 months or 4 months, I didn't have any endo flares, didn't have any cramping. So I was like, okay, like this is amazing. I don't have the flare-ups right away, or I don't really see them coming forward. So maybe they're just never gonna return again. And wishful thinking was kind of put at a stop, because around the 5-month mark, I had my first endometriosis flare up. We were driving from Toronto to Ottawa, and I just was in the passenger seat, and Nick, my fiance, was driving, and I couldn't, look up. I couldn't do anything. I just had to sleep and just go through the pain and ride it out. My endo flares post-pregnancy have not lasted as long as my previous flare-ups. They're still painful. They're still excruciating. They still knock me out and make me not be able to do the things I want to do, which is the reality of living with endometriosis. The hard part, though, was now that I'm a mom, I I'm getting teary-eyed about it because I just had a lot of guilt with a chronic illness, because when my endo flares would hit, before my daughter was here, I was able to take care of myself and focus on my body and healing and just taking every step as it came. But now as a mom, I had a new baby, a beautiful baby that I was responsible for. But being knocked out by my chronic illness and my flare-ups that came forward, I was fortunate that a lot of them happened while she was sleeping. So my flare-ups typically show up at night, which is just a random fact about my endo. So I was able to ride out the flare-up and the excruciating pain in the bathroom on my own. But I was knocked out the next morning by fatigue and that exhaustion that had hit by the flare-up. So I was trying to put on a face and a facade for my daughter and trying to be up and saying, oh, like mommy's okay, like let's just do this and this and this. But I was internally exhausted from the flare-up the night before that she didn't know anything about. And in that reality, I'm so glad that in a way she didn't see me suffering, because she's so young and she doesn't really know what's going on. But I worry in the next years coming where she sees that pain. And it's not to say I want to hide it from her, because it's something that's a part of mommy and it's a part of my life and my chapters, but I just don't want her to see me in pain or worry about me in that sense. But I'm going to be open about it and be really, talk openly about endo, as it's so important to just share information, because growing up, I didn't have info about it, and I'm sure you watching didn't. So just being open and all of that. But I think in the first year of motherhood, there was a lot of guilt around, am I showing up the best way I can? Or am I showing up with the same energy I should every day? And I've realized in my first year, especially with a chronic illness, that it's okay to not be on every day as a mom. There is so much pressure on mothers in general around being everything to a baby and being like a caregiver, a person that takes care of the home, like a person that finds their own identity in their own life and has all these things going on. And I just feel like I have learned that I can't be on every day, especially with my chronic illness, and that's okay. So I'm just trying to find grace and compassion for myself in this year. And I'm still learning, but I think throughout the year I've learned like the energy may not be the same every day, and that's okay. My endo flares again happened a lot at night. But if they happen during the day, my fiance would have to take part of the morning or the afternoon off for myself to deal with the flare-up and to have a nap or rest. And that was really helpful. So my partner has been a rock in this, especially with my chronic illness, on no questions asked. Like, I'm here, I can shut down work and I'm there for you and the baby, like when flare-ups happen or I can't take on the day because I'm just not physically able to. So that's been really wonderful with my chronic illness in the mix with motherhood. Again, that guilt kind of kicks in because I won't be able to hold her as much because I'm cramping, or I feel cramping coming on, or I'm not able to drive to get groceries because I feel that cramping come on and I just don't want to deal with a flare-up on a drive because I feel like it's dangerous to do so. So there were little days that I just felt lower and not as on as a mom in my first year. And so I'm, again, learning to kind of go through those motions and to learn to give myself grace and compassion. But the reality is that my chronic illness is still a part of me, and it's still in my first year of motherhood and will be forever with me. But I'm just learning to deal with that guilt a little bit. And it was hard. It was really hard at some days to just deal with the pain and just like, oh, she's out there with her dad right now and I just feel like I'm missing important milestones, or like she's babbling and I want her to know that I'm here and I'm with her, but I'm lying in my bed because my body is like not performing in the best way that I wish it would. And so those were hard days, but the days that made up for it and being there and being on in my body, just performing in the best way because I felt really good, I soak in those days with her because I'm like, you are the light in my life and I just feel so blessed and so honored to be your mom, and you just bring me so much joy, and I'm just so thankful for those days. My body feels good because we go for walks and we look at the birdies and we look at the trees and the leaves and we count the clouds in the sky, like little things that are so juvenile and kiddish, I like live for, because I'm like, I may not be able to do this tomorrow. So I'm soaking in every moment I can with her. And that's where I kind of want to dive into like my priorities changing as a mom. If you know me, and if you don't, I'm a very go, go, go type of person. In my previous video, I talked about how I'm in therapy for a lot of things I've learned in my first year, and we can kind of dive into that too around anxiety and depression that kind of creeped in during my first year. But my priorities have shifted, and in a beautiful way, in a way that I wish had happened earlier. I'm a person that is so go, 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 takes decisions one after the other and doesn't take a break. My career, I'm on maternity leave now, but my career, I'm a federal lobbyist. So what that means is I have clients and I talk to the government on their behalf to try and change policies or sway opinions on political actions that are happening. And it's a very busy job. It's a very demanding job. It's a job that I love to my core. I love politics. I love government relations. I love all of that. I did an undergrad in politics. I did a master's degree in political management here in Ottawa. And my career just made sense. It made sense, and I was in a career that I just fully found my identity in. As I am doing so well, I'm able to be a female in this male-dominated industry, and I just felt like I was hitting my stride. And when I became pregnant and became a mom, I think a lot of moms go through this, but it's a bit of like an identity shift, and we feel like we don't really know ourselves because my work halted. My career kind of just stopped because of being on leave. And I just felt like I was like a floating body trying to find a piece of myself that kind of resonated in a huge chapter that changed everything. And so finding myself and my identity was a little bit of a challenge in the year. But my priorities have shifted since being a mom. I want to be there for my daughter. I don't want to work late nights into the evening on projects that are 11 p.m., midnight time frames that I'm on the computer working. My priorities are family now. And that is such a beautiful thing that I'm so proud of, that I've learned in this year, that my career I've done so well in, and I'm going back, but I don't have to find my identity solely in my career the same way I don't have to fully find my identity in motherhood. There are puzzle pieces in my life that make me who I am and that make me beautiful and strong and diverse in my opinions and my experiences. And these little aspects are part of me in that puzzle piece, the same with my chronic illness. But being a mom is like the largest puzzle piece for me. And that just makes me so incredibly proud and happy again, because I just find like I've waited my whole life to be a mom and to have this moment and to just soak up everything. And my priority is her now. My priority is my family. And that is a beautiful thing that I've learned this year. I've kind of touched upon this a little bit in this video already, but the first year, the best part of my days were my daughter. And she is like the shining light in everything that happened day to day. But I had a lot of anxiety and depression that crept in this year, especially around my identity. And that's kind of like a theme for me this year, on just finding pieces of myself. And so I went to therapy, and I have an amazing therapist that has really helped me through this year to kind of feel grounded and to feel like we can talk about my chronic illness in a non-judgmental way, and motherhood in a non-judgmental way, and all of these things that are at the forefront of my brain. And I just found that having an external person to talk to about everything this year has been so helpful. I think in some areas of the world, there's a community of individuals and family that help women and mothers through this chapter. And I just don't know, like, in just honesty here, like I just find sometimes in my society that I live in, my like communities, I just find there's not a lot of support for mothers necessarily. Like we have to do a lot of the reaching out, and we have to do a lot of the organizing to like find play groups or doctors or therapists to talk to, and that's part of the journey as well. But I just find like it was a bit of a lonely year on trying to figure out myself and my identity and everything in between. So I just felt there were periods of lowness and periods of anxiety and depression that crept in this year that I recognized because I suffered with anxiety and depression since high school. So I saw it early, and I sought out help early so that I could be the best version of myself for my daughter. And that's what my therapist was saying. A lot of mothers reach out postpartum wise because they want to show up as a better version of themselves for their child. And that's when a lot of mothers and individuals and women go to find that support. And it's typically postpartum season. And so I've been in sessions, it's been really helpful. And I just find that having those moments for myself are so important to work on myself, because again, I want to be the best version of myself for my daughter, to show up and say, there are hard days, of course, and there are emotional days, and having these big, hard, heavy emotions are part of human nature. They're part of life. And I don't want to shy away from that from her. She's one, so she doesn't really probably necessarily know what's going on, but I always want to come forward in an honest but positive way for her and say, it's okay to feel low. It's okay to feel these emotions. Like, we're here for you. We're your support system. We're here every step of the way. I could be emotional about it because I think growing up, like, I wasn't able to show my true emotional self. It was, no, you're okay. You're fine. Everything's fine. So I found that I always made decisions that subdued my anxiety and depression and my emotions that I was feeling, and there was not really an outlet for my emotions. And I think that's why I bottled them up a lot. And when there are huge changes like motherhood or whatever it is, that's when they bubble to the surface, because it's just so much happening and so much change. And I just want to be open with my daughter and say, it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to show your true colors, and we're just here for you, and we love you, and it's okay to find that support too outside of us if you need extra support. And that's what I'm finding for myself, is that prioritization of, I can put M first as well. Motherhood is definitely, again, that puzzle piece for myself, but I can also have an aspect of my life where I can take care of myself. I can have a bath, I can take therapy. I need to find aspects of myself again too. And that's what I've learned this year, that I can't be everything to my daughter if I'm coming with an empty cup, right? Like, and especially with a chronic illness, like, I'm really drained. So taking that time for myself, which is baths in the evening, or going for coffee or dinner with friends in the city, or a walk on my own, a workout class, whatever it is, just on my own, to really ground myself, to feel re-energized, to feel like I've taken care of my body and my brain, to come back fully filled my cup and say, you know, like, I'm here, like, I'm ready to take on like that motherhood puzzle piece again today. And it's a journey. And I think it's also like taboo sometimes to say, oh, like, you're taking time away from the baby to do this, or did she come with you? Or it's okay to do things on your own, and it's okay to not have that judgment held onto your shoulders by doing things for yourself without your baby. And it's not to say you don't love your baby, and it's not to say you're not a good mom. Like, it's just, you need to take care of yourself too. And that this year has really shown me that I can't do it all on my own. I need to fill up my own cup, and it's okay to take time away to do things while she's with her dad or while she's with grandma and grandpa, that we can have a day for ourselves to just fill our own cups, to come back as a better version for her. And I think that is the best thing I've learned, because at the beginning of the year when she was first born, I was like, I'm breastfeeding, I'm running all over the place, I'm trying to do everything all at the same time for her. And I'm just like, where am I in this? Where is my shell? Where is my identity and my personality? Like, where have I gone? Where has M gone? And the moment I took time for myself to even just get like a coffee, I was like, okay, like, I can sit and breathe and take that time to just take it all in, because it is a huge change. It's a huge thing that happens in our lives, that it's okay to take that time to just say, whoa, this is a lot, and I need to just take care of myself today. So that's also something that I've learned. Part of that too is finding a support system that works for you. My fiance is that support system. He is wonderful and amazing and is there with our daughter. So I feel very fortunate that I have that partner in my life. His mom has been, I'm gonna cry talking about her too. It's a very emotional video here, but she has just been so important to me in this journey. My parents don't live close to me. And so having that person that has gone through motherhood and has gone through it all, and just there reminding me like I'm doing a good job, is has been life-changing. And so my support system, and what I'll say is that you need that support system to help you along the way, to really encourage you and to be your support system, to say you're doing a great job. Like, you're doing everything you can on top of, you know, taking care of a home, a puppy, a baby. You're taking care of yourself. You're doing so much, and she's a happy, healthy baby. Like, you are doing amazing. And I think sometimes as moms, we like think about each day that comes and we're like, oh, did we do everything we were supposed to? Or I could have done this differently. And just having external people in your support network that just remind you you're doing a great job is gold. So if you're in this journey or early in your journey of motherhood, like, my number one piece of advice is that finding your support network will make the journey easier and less heavy on you as a mom. I am so proud of myself this year. I feel like it's weird to like pump yourself up sometimes because I feel like it can come off as like vain or whatever, but I just feel like from the person I was at the beginning of this year as like a very scared and anxious person around what this year will look like with a chronic illness, the steps that I've taken to better myself, to take care of myself, and to show up for my child. I didn't get it right every day. Like, I know that 100%, but to have a happy, healthy, beautiful baby, I just feel like I've done a lot this year, and I'm just so proud of everything that I've done to support her and to support her family and to support myself. Life with a chronic illness in motherhood is not always black and white, especially if you're a mother without a chronic illness. Some days are not the same, but the relationship I have with my body is, again, a relationship and an ebb and flow of good days and bad days, but I'm just so proud of how far I've come, and I feel like a stronger version of myself, and I feel like a person that can show her emotions more and to be more vulnerable and to show it's okay and to just say like there is strength in being vulnerable. And so this year has taught me that I'm stronger than I gave myself credit for. And it's a beautiful thing to be vulnerable, especially in front of our children. The final thing I want to say, and it's to you, is thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable on my channel here on every step of the motherhood chronic illness journey. It has been beautiful to have an outlet to talk openly with people that understand the chronic illness piece and to just be open about day-to-day life with a baby and chronic illness. Like, it has been a lifesaver in a way for myself to just have a verbal journal around this time of my life that is so beautiful and just eye-opening. Thank you for allowing me to have this space and to listen along, because it means so much to me. So I'm sure there are other things that I've learned throughout this year as a mom with chronic illness. But that's all that's coming to my brain right now as I'm becoming an emotional wreck today. Yeah, it's a very emotional time. But I'll end the video here, I guess. But thank you again for allowing me the space to be open and vulnerable. And I cannot wait to talk to you on the next one. I cannot wait to see where the next year of motherhood takes me.